can't have any.
I was promised a game night for Christmas.
Can we just emphasize that they're walking upstairs with both Santa?
Next up, we have Butterfree. Those too young to remember the original Indigo League anime are fortunate to have never experienced the crushing pain of Ash having to say goodbye to his Butterfree, which, as a Caterpie, was the first Pokemon he ever caught. Speaking of crushing pain, today we're going to be examining Butterfree's history in the competitive scene. Now, this may surprise some of you, but Butterfree isn't the most well-equipped Pokemon for serious battling, and some fans theorize that Pokemon like Butterfree and Beedrill were put in so the player could have an early game fully evolved Pokemon that would fall off later in the adventure due to their bad stats. Nevertheless, you asked. And now we must answer, how good was Butterfree actually? And in this video, we'll be going over these competitive formats. Alas, poor Butterfree was one of the worst fully evolved Pokemon in the game. Sure, it had Sleep Powder in the first generation, where Sleep was at its strongest, and Sunspore Paralysis for dual status was nice, but it was held back by the fact that Butterfree had absolutely no defensive or offensive prowess whatsoever. Typing alongside Pathetic Bulk meant it wasn't countering anything at all, and it wasn't hurting anything in return with non-stab Psychic or Mega Drain from a base 80 special. In OU, it was completely and utterly outclassed by Exeggutor and Victreebel, as their superior typing stats and move pool made them able to actually switch into common Pokemon and threaten the opponent in return. Butterfree couldn't hope to find a niche in UU, as it was similarly outclassed by Venusaur and Venomoth there, who were Pokemon that already struggled in that tier to begin with at that, and even all the way down in NU, it still couldn't find a niche, as both Pokemon resided down there as well, as did another dual status Pokemon, Drowsy, who had the benefit of Stab on its Psychic and a higher special stat. There was just nothing Butterfree could do anywhere in Gen 1, except of course its small niche in Ubers, where it functioned as an excellent Mewtwo counter, as it shrugged off amnesia-boosted Psychics, Blizzards, and Thunderbolts alike. Just kidding, of course, unless you believe that, in which case we've got a Nugget Bridge to sell you. Gen 2 didn't help Butterfree at all. In fact, the abundance of rest and sleep talk managed to make it even worse, as it was now incredibly easy to shrug off the only thing Butterfree could hope to afflict the opponent with, status. Now technically it did get a few buffs. Mega Drain was upgraded to Giga Drain, it received Nightmare to annoy sleeping Pokemon, and Hidden Power Bug meant it had an actual stab attack. Yeah, it had the 70 base power stab off of its massive base 45 attack stat. That's what Butterfree needed to become a middle tier NU threat. Once again, that was a joke. All of these buffs did absolutely nothing to solve the fact that Butterfree was astonishingly useless on both offense and defense. They couldn't scrape even the tiniest niche. Much more thanks to the presence of Execute, Bloom, Venomoth, and Tangrowth. Not fully evolved Pokemon without sleep, or better choices than Butterfree and Bayleaf was a testament to that. Once again, Butterfree couldn't hack it whatsoever in Gen 2. Outside of Ubers, of course, were its rivals Zapdos and Skarmory as a solid counter to Curse Lugia's mighty Arrow Blast. And if you're interested in purchasing a Nugget Bridge, the starting price find some sort of justification for using Butterfree, meaning one was just using it because they liked it as a Pokemon. That's fine and all, but if one's foremost goal was to win, they weren't going to be using Butterfree. Even if Sleep on its own was worth taking an entire Pokemon slot, it usually wasn't. Even all the way down in NU, players would just use Parasect, which in addition to guaranteed Sleep of Spore, also had tangibly useful support in aromatherapy. Most players didn't use Parasect though. They preferred to use good Pokemon that had the lower accuracy of their Sleep moves, made up for by the fact that they had better types.